28-year-old woman presents to the clinic with 2 months of palpitations, tremor, heat intolerance, insomnia, and loose bowel motions. She has lost 20 kg. A physical examination indicates that the body temperature is 37.8, heart rate is 120, blood pressure is 130 by 80. The examination also reveals that a moderately sized diffuse goiter and bruit were present. She was agitated and experienced a fine tremor with warm, moist palms. She also had increased deep tendon reflexes. No exophthalmos was noted. The laboratory tests revealed TSH less than 0.01 milli-international units per liter. T4 is 57, T3 is 24. Complete blood count was normal. A thyroid scan demonstrated diffusely increased uptake. A high level of thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin antibodies were detected. Which of the following explains these findings? A. Exogenous thyroxine intake. B. Graves' disease. C. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. D. Pregnancy. E. D. Pure vein thyroiditis. So the correct answer is Graves' disease. Graves' disease, here they've already given in the question that there is an increase in thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin antibody. You must have been tipped with it. You must have reached the answer simply by this. But now let's see if this was not given in the question. What is thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin basically? There are receptors on thyroid gland of TSH. Okay. For TSH to bind here, which will stimulate the thyroid gland to release T4. Now, thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin will bind to these receptors and will stimulate these receptors. So these are stimulatory antibodies. So more T4 release will be stimulated and increase in T4 occurs, increase in thyroxine in the body, and will lead to all those manifestations of hyperthyroidism like palpitations, tremor, like as mentioned in the question, there is weight loss, loose bowel movements, because of there is a conscious anxiety. This will lead to insomnia and the rest of the features. Okay. Now these are the features that occur due to increase in the thyroid hormone level. But in case of Graves' disease, this occurs due to a thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin, this antibody. Two features mainly. One is exophthalmos, protrusion of the eyeball out of its socket, and the third one is tibial edema. Here, even though the question is saying that no exophthalmos was noted, but these two features are a part of Graves' disease and they are very specific for Graves' disease. The reason being they don't occur due to an increase in the T4 levels. These are not the effects of thyroxine. Rather, they are the direct effect of this antibody. So these antibodies go on and directly stimulate the soft tissues behind the eyeball, and this will increase this soft tissue and will protrude the eyeball out. Similarly, this occurs in case of pretibial edema, wherein the antibodies will stimulate the soft tissue and the growth of cartilage and will lead to edema in the tibia, on the tibia. These two are very specific features and they are features of Graves' disease and not hyperthyroidism because they occur due to this antibody. Okay, coming back to this question. Here, okay, let's just imagine that this was not given in the question. Still, you can reach the answer by looking at, let's look at the other options. Now, exogenous thyroxine intake. First, let's make it clear about the radioiodine uptake scan. Radioiodine uptake scan is basically when you're given radioactive iodine and you look for its uptake within the thyroid gland. Now, when will its uptake increase? When the thyroid gland is actively producing hormone. Okay, so it will take up more iodine in order to produce more thyroid hormone. Now, when in case of Graves' disease, there is stimulation of TSH receptors, will lead to an increase in production of T4, and that's why the uptake of radioiodine will increase. But in case of exogenous thyroxine intake, what happens is body already has excess T4, which will lead to inhibition of TSH. Okay, there is inhibition of TSH, so TSH will not act on these receptors. The thyroid gland will not be stimulated to produce more hormones, and that's why the radioiodine uptake will decrease in this case. Am I clear? So here, in exogenous thyroxine intake, radioiodine uptake will decrease. Okay? The thyroid scan shows demonstrate diffusely in the radioiodine uptake. Remember this. This is an important part, right? But if someone is taking thyroid hormone exogenously, thyroid scan will not demonstrate increased uptake. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. What is this? This is when there are antibodies against thyroglobulin and all those parts of thyroid gland which are involved in thyroxine formation. So basically, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is a form of hypothyroidism, as you all know, and there will not be any thyroid hormone synthesis here. Okay, in Hashimoto's thyroiditis, so there will be no increase in radioiodine uptake. In case of pregnancy, see, in case of pregnancy, there is, we'll come to it. If you remember, there was one more question regarding pregnancy and thyroid hormone. We'll discuss that. But basically, in pregnancy, there is only a mild increase in total thyroid hormone. Okay, this is such a low of TSH. So unless and until there is graves associated with pregnancy, there is a pathology occurring during pregnancy, you won't see such off values of all the thyroid hormones. Another thing is you cannot do a thyroid scan during pregnancy, so you'll have to do either ultrasonography or you'll have to find out from the labs. If a person is pregnant and you see these labs, that is not a normal pregnancy. Okay, T4 and T3 are increased a lot, way beyond the normal increase in pregnancy also. Even for a pregnant patient, you can come to know if this was not given in the question that this is not normal pregnancy. If this was seen in a pregnant patient, you'll have to think of this. Okay. For that, you'll do USG and you'll see that there is a increased blood flow, which shows that thyroid gland is active. Now, D. Quervain's thyroiditis. Coming to this, D. Quervain's thyroiditis is sort of an autoimmune condition wherein there are three phases. In the first phase, there is an autoimmune destruction of thyroid globules, the thyroid gland, which will lead to release of thyroid hormone in the body, which will lead to hyperthyroidism initially. And because all the thyroxine has been depleted, like all the hormones have depleted, it will cause a hypothyroid phase later on because of the destruction of gland. And it is self-limiting condition. So in a few weeks, it will go back to mean euthyroid. So in D. Quervain's thyroiditis, because thyroid gland is being released from the body, T4 level is increasing, which will lead to negative stimulation, negative feedback to TSH. And so again, similar to exogenous thyroxine intake, no stimulation over here, and so no increased radioiodine uptake. Right? So if this is sort of an easy clue over here, like we've discussed, reading the last two lines can give you the answer, and over here, a high level of these antibodies and short diagnosis is Graves. But I've explained you what if they have been given this clue with the help of a thyroid scan, or if they haven't given thyroid scan, they will mention in question that on ultrasound there is increased blood flow to thyroid gland. Increased blood flow or increased iodine uptake will show an active gland, which is actively making and releasing the hormones. Right? So on the basis of that, over here, eliminating other options, we can reach the diagnosis of Graves' disease without the help of this clue of antibody.
Thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe for more.